everyone, maths now for Friday. So we've been looking at fractions, decimals. We're going to have a little starter by seeing if you can notice which one is different. So you've got a grid, you've got some counters, you've got some more counters, and you've got three different fractions and one decimal. Out of all of these, which one is different? Can you pause the video and work it out for me, please? Okay, so if we have a little look at the grid, here you have got 60 out of 100 squares that are shaded. Okay, here you have got 60 100ths. Okay, here you have got their 1/10 counters and you've got 6 of them, so 6/10. Okay, so this was 60 over 100, this was 60 over 100 because we've got 60 of the 100. This is 6 over 10. 6 over 10 we've obviously got here. 60 over 100 with the same as these two. 0.6 is 6/10, isn't it? Okay. This is the odd one out. 60 over 100, if you divide the top and the bottom by 10, is actually the same as 6/10. Okay, so 6/10 here and 6/10 here are exactly the same as 60 over 100, 60 over 100 and 60 over 100. So obviously here we have got 60 over 1000, which is different. Okay, let's get on with the main part of the lesson. So we're going on to percentages today. All right, these are all parts of numbers. So fractions, decimals and percentages. It's part of a number. All right. Now, we would have had a big debate if we were in class as to can you think of any words that start with cent? And what do you think cent means? And what do you think percent means? Have a little think now. See if you can come up with anything. Okay, so century is one you'll all know. Centimetre, centipede, centurion, the cent, which is the American coin, and the centenary. Okay, so what does it mean? It means 100. All right, and each of the words refers to 100 in some way. 1 cent is 1 out of 100 of a dollar. A centurion was in charge of 100 soldiers. A centimetre is 1 out of 100 of a metre. A century contains 100 years. A centenary is celebrated once every 100 years. A centipede doesn't have 100 legs, but it has a lot, and 100 is a large number. So what does per cent mean? It means for every. So miles per hour is miles for every hour. Cent means 100. So per cent means for every 100 or out of every 100. Okay? Okay, so now to look at the grid again and recognise percentages. You've got your 100 grid once again. How many squares are shaded? If we look, there are 50 parts per 100 shaded. Okay? And this is 50%. 50 out of 100. If you remember, the percent means out of 100. 50 out of 100 are shaded. If we look at another one, how many parts out of 100 are shaded? There are 25 parts per 100 shaded. So this is 25%. Obviously, this is quite easy when you're looking at 100 grid. How many out of 100? There are 9 parts out of 100 shaded, so this is 9%. Okay, You could also say it is 9 over 100, or it is 0.09 as a decimal. Okay, so if we're looking at different images, we're thinking of parts per 100 and then the percentage. So here is the image. Parts per 100, see if you can work it out just quickly. How many of these, how many blue are shaded? That is 88 out of 100, which is 88%. Have a quick look at the next one. How many orange squares are there? There are 14 parts per 100, which will be 14%. Okay? This is where it gets a little bit more tricky. This time you've not got 100 grid. Okay, with the 100 grid, it was nice and easy. You counted how many squares there were. That gives you the percentage straight away. Here, you have only got it out of 10 squares. So, first of all, work out what each square represents. You've got 10 of them, and all together that makes 100. How much is each one worth? I'm hoping that you get each one worth 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So, bearing that in mind, how many are shaded? There are 4 shaded. If each one of those is worth 10, that's 10, 20, 30, 40. 40% is shaded. Okay, because it's 40 out of 100. So as a fraction, that would be 40 over 100. As a decimal, that would be 0.4. Okay, and as a percentage, it is 40%. Let's look at a couple more. Again, we've got 10 squares, so each one is worth 10 to make it a total of 100. How many have we got shaded? You work it out. We've got 7 shaded, therefore that is 70%. Okay? Look at the purple. What percentage is shaded? We've got 2 squares. Each square is worth 10, so that is 20%. Hopefully that's easy. Right, let's have a little quiz, true or false. 1 whole is the same as 1%. What do you think? Right, well that is false. If you've got your 100 grid and you've got the whole thing coloured in, that's 100 out of 100. It is not 1%. 1% would be 1 square coloured in, not the whole grid. Okay, so that is false. Let's look at the next one. If 100 square is completely coloured in, then we can say that 100% of the square is coloured. Yes, that is true, because that's exactly what we've just explained. Okay, look at the next one. In this diagram, 5% is shaded. What do you think? Hopefully you're saying no. Okay, because it would only be 5% if you had the whole 100 grid and 5 squares were coloured, sorry. But here you have only got 10 squares, so you remember that each square is worth 10. So we have got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% is shaded. 5 out of the 10 squares are shaded. 50%. Okay, so that is false. Next question. The word percent means out of 100. Yes, this is correct. Next one. If 13% of a shape is shaded, this means that 87% is not shaded. What do you think? Yep, so that is perfectly correct. Okay, because out of a shape, the whole shape is 100%. If 13 is shaded, 13 plus 87 makes 100. Therefore, 87 is not shaded. All right, so that is true. Next question. Circle the odd one out. So remember, this is out of 100, but each of these are worth 10. So pause the video, work out which one is the odd one out. Okay, so if we have a little look at A, we've got 10, 20, 30, 45. So we've got 45%. In B, we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 45%. We can see straight away with D, there's 45%. What's going on in C? Each of these are worth 10. We've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. So straight away we can see that C is the odd one out. A, B and D all represent 45%. C represents 50%. Okay, and that is a perfectly reasonable explanation in your work. One more question. Put the cards in order from largest to smallest. Okay, now a largest percent will be 100%, the whole thing. Okay, so when you're putting in order from largest to smallest, we want the number that's closest to 100. The smallest will then be closest to 1%. So we've got 53 parts out of 100, which is 53%, 35%. 4 parts out of 10. So remember when we had the 10 grid, we counted 10, 20, 30, 40. So that is the same as 40%. We've then got 61%. 7 parts out of 10. Once again, you've got 7 lots of 10, which is 70%. And here we've got 16%. So the largest number is 7 parts out of 10. That's 70%. Then comes 61%, 53%, 40%, 35%, and then 16%. Okay? So it's again converting all of them to a percentage so that then it makes it easier to order the numbers. Okay? There are some questions for you to try, some do, think and explain questions for you to try. Okay, I will make the sheet editable so that you can do it. And then there will be another sheet attached with the answers on. So if you could please mark your work before you hand it in. Hopefully you'll find this nice and easy. You can always look through the slides again if you need some support. Okay, good luck Year 5. Thank you.